It's Thursday, January 14th, and this is now on H&N.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Hawaii residents question why some mainland visitors are getting vaccinated in the islands.
No! I'm Michael George with the new FAA crackdown on unruly passengers.
These are scenes that you would normally expect to see in Cairo or Islamabad, certainly not in downtown Washington, D.C.
We're learning more about the protective measures being set up as inauguration security tightens around Washington. I'm Skyler Henry with the latest on the fallout after last week's riot at the Capitol.
I have colleagues who are now traveling with armed escorts.
These stories plus an extra large swell is rolling in very soon. Those details coming up on This Is Now.
Ideas on the tier system right now is it's been working in place. I know that there's a certain amount of fatigue involved with the tier system, but as I've promised the governor and understanding that it takes the governor's authorization to make any changes there, that right now, especially in the aftermath of where we were a week ago when we had that spike in cases of 332, we're just steady as she goes right now. It's a very fluid situation.
That is Mayor Rick Blangiardi there speaking just moments ago at a news conference downtown, talking about the city's strategy with COVID-19 and the response. Good afternoon, Jonathan and Ashley here, coming to you from the H&N Digital Studio. We're going to begin with the latest numbers from the State Department of Health.
The State Health Department is reporting 179 new cases today, along with 6 new fatalities. The breakdown by island shows 13 cases on the Big Island, 1 on Kauai, 32 on Maui, 122 on Oahu, and 11 residents were diagnosed out of state. Meanwhile, we want to tell you about some big aviation news. The FAA is taking aim at unruly air passengers, enforcing stricter penalties, including fines and potential jail time for those who don't obey flight crews or refuse to wear masks. Michael George reports new at noon.
The Federal Aviation Administration is cracking down on unruly passengers after incidents and confrontations on flights to and from Washington last week, some revolving around the riot at the U.S. Capitol. Administrator Steve Dixon.
This is not acceptable.
The new policy skips counseling or warnings, moving right to penalties of fines up to $35,000 and prison time.
I just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to ensure the continued safety of the aviation system.
It's a stance that's getting approval from industry groups like Airlines for America, which tweeted, "We welcome the FAA order to implement a more stringent policy regarding unruly passenger behavior." No! Incidents on flights have skyrocketed over the past year, like this one on Delta in October. Many have involved passengers who refuse to wear masks.
Passengers should with crew instructions to wear masks.
Airlines have banned more than 2,700 passengers for refusing to wear masks since the pandemic started. In the wake of last week's attack, American Airlines announced it has suspended alcoholic beverage service on flights to and from Washington from January 16th through the 21st, increased staff at D.C. area airports, and revised pre-departure announcements to emphasize crew member instructions about mandatory face coverings. The new FAA policy extends through March 30th. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment benefits is going in the wrong direction. According to the latest Labor Department report out today, another 965,000 people filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week on a seasonally adjusted basis. That was much higher than the previous week, in which 784,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits. On top of that, 284,000 workers filed claims for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, or PUA. That program helps people who are self-employed or gig workers and not covered under regular benefits.
Well, the first mass vaccination site on Oahu opens Monday. Casey Lund is here with the details.
Good afternoon. Those 2 locations will be at the Blaisdell Center and right here at Pier 2. Those vaccinations at the Pier 2 site will begin this coming Monday. For those that aren't familiar with the area, Pier 2 is the passenger loading and unloading area for the cruise ships. We're right across from Restaurant Row, the Makai end of Kaka'ako near the UH School of Medicine. Hawaii Pacific Health will be distributing the vaccine here at the Pier 2 site. They've already started randomly contacting some of their patients who are eligible. Queens Health System will distribute the vaccine at the Blaisdell Center. Vaccinations will start there the following Monday on January 25th. As we move into the Phase 1B vaccination group, officials want to stress that those vaccinations will be by appointment only. HPH says right now they have about 20,000 doses set aside for next week's vaccinations. They want to vaccinate about 1,000 people per day and then eventually ramp up to between 3,000 and 4,000 people each day over the next few weeks.
If we had the space and the resources to vaccinate everybody today, we do not have, all the 75 and above, we do not have enough vaccine in stock today. We do anticipate that we will have a flow of vaccine coming in week after week. But the last thing we want to do is schedule thousands of people, because I can tell you I've personally witnessed this with our own employee base and others that I've spoken to leading up to this. As soon as they get a call and they know it's their turn, and they schedule that appointment, their shoulders drop about 3 inches and they exhale. There's a burden that is placed on people that we don't even recognize in our day-to-day activities.
The Pier 2 site will run Monday through Saturday. Queen says the Blaisdell site will likely start out vaccinating around 1,000 people each day, eventually aiming for 3,000 people every day. Once you get your first shot, your appointment for your second dose is automatically scheduled there on site. And speaking of appointments, to make yours, visit the website on your screen, hawaiicovid19.com/vaccine. Again, those appointments for right now are available only to first responders, frontline essential workers, correctional employees, and our kapunas age 75 and older. Reporting at Pier 2, I'm Casey Lund. Now back to you.
Lacey Denise continues our coverage with an update on how the neighbor islands are vaccinating their residents. On the Valley Island, Maui Health and the county's Department of Health are leading the efforts there in Phase 1A or 1B. That means frontline essential workers, healthcare workers, and adults 75 and over. No walk-ins are being allowed. You need to make an appointment on mauihealth.org and follow some step-by-step instructions. On Hawaii Island, Hilo Medical Center is vaccinating essential healthcare workers and residents 75 and older beginning tomorrow. There are forms online at hilomedicalcenter.org. Kona Community Hospital is currently giving shots to people in the healthcare industry. No word on when the facility plans to vaccinate kupuna older than 75. Kauai is already into its 1B vaccinations. We told you hundreds of teachers already received their first shots. Postal workers, public transit employees, and grocery store workers are also getting vaccinated as essential workers. Starting tomorrow, kupuna 75 and older will be able to get their shots at Wilcox Medical Center by appointment only. If you're a patient of Wilcox or Kauai Medical Clinic, you will be contacted if you already have an online MyChart account. Otherwise, you'll have to sign up on your own. You can go to wilcoxhealth.org/vaccine. For This Is Now, I'm Lacey Denise.
We've learned that some state senators are not happy that schools are having to absorb the cost of PPE. At an informational briefing, it was revealed that almost $5 million was spent by the schools for items like plexiglass, face shields, and cleaning equipment ahead of the schools reopening. DOE told senators that the schools were given the impression that the emergency funds distributed by HIEMA would reimburse those costs, but that did not happen.
We're ready to request reimbursements from HIEMA before FEMA changed the rules, and that didn't happen. The total at this point was $4.8 million. 4.7 of that was cost that was incurred at various schools. $100,000 was cost incurred centrally.
The DOE is working with the state finance department to try to get some of that nearly $5 million back to the schools.
President Trump is now the first president to be impeached twice. The impeachment proceedings now head to the Senate for a trial, but that won't happen until President Trump leaves office. Skylar Henry is in Washington with more on that and what's being done to keep the Capitol safe ahead of next week's inauguration.
This afternoon, Vice President Mike Pence is attending an inauguration security briefing at FEMA headquarters. Ahead of the inauguration, thousands of armed National Guard troops are posted at the Capitol, with new fences erected and businesses boarded up. CBS News has learned of a new law enforcement bulletin warning that the success of last week's breach could fuel more violence among domestic extremist groups.
There must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism.
President Trump released a video Wednesday calling for calm after the House took the historic step of impeaching him for a second time on charges of inciting the U.S. Capitol assault. The impeachment case now goes to the Senate for a trial, which is not scheduled to begin until after the president-elect and vice president-elect are sworn in here at the Capitol next week. In a statement, President-elect Joe Biden urged Senate leadership to find a way to deal with their constitutional responsibilities on impeachment while also working on the other urgent business of this nation. Meanwhile, lawmakers have introduced a bipartisan bill to award Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman the Congressional Medal of Freedom for his bravery during last week's attack. The military veteran faced down a large group of rioters and lured them away from the Senate chamber, giving his colleagues enough time to secure the area. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Here at home, state officials say there's no credible threat. However, crews have installed barricades at the state capitol. State lawmakers are aware of the concerns over potential protests, and some are pushing for improvements to the building. It's already currently closed to the public because of the pandemic, but the rotunda has been open.
New at noon, the Vatican confirmed that Pope Francis has received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. However, the statement did not say when exactly the Pope was given the shot. Vatican City began its vaccination program on Wednesday in a medical center set up inside its main auditorium hall where Pope Francis often holds his weekly service. Residents are questioning why some mainland visitors are getting vaccinated in the islands. Chelsea Davis looked into it.
According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Hawaii has one of the slowest vaccine rollout responses among any other state. The fact that visitors are eligible for the shots as well makes residents very frustrated.
Anybody, once you register, can demand a shot anywhere?
Maui's district health officer, Dr. Lauren Peng, says whoever registers with the CDC's vaccine portal VAMS can receive a shot anywhere in the country.
In our clinic, we had somebody from California who kind of came here, but she registered in California, and she said VAMS is a system where you can get it anywhere once you register, which is true. And so we kind of gave it to her.
Those remarks ignited a fire among many Maui residents.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I was incredibly enraged.
The Hawaii Pacific Health CEO says priority will be given to locals, but they aren't going to waste any shots either.
We have 3 doses left. We're going to give that dose to whoever will, bear their arm and allow us to vaccinate them.
Locals believe the vaccines being shipped to Hawaii should go to Hawaii residents first.
I'm 69 and a half, and I've had a heart issue, and my husband has stage 4 cancer, and neither of us can get it until 1C or later, and we're giving it to visitors first.
But I felt that was very entitled for somebody that's visiting to go, even if they are somebody that might own over here and they come for 3 months, 4 months. It doesn't matter. It's still kind of an entitlement. They're not paying income taxes.
That's not the only problem with vaccines in Hawaii. Congressman Ed Kay says local leaders aren't moving fast enough.
We're down in the bottom quartile of the country right now in terms of the utilization of the vaccines. There's a lot of vaccines that have arrived here in Hawaii, but they're not used.
According to the CDC's website, Hawaii has administered just over 23% of the distributed vaccines, putting the state third last in the country. Getting a vaccine is by appointment only for Oahu residents. The first mass vaccination site for essential workers and people 75 and older will launch on Monday at Pier 2. For more information on how to get an appointment, go to hawaiinewsnow.com. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Chelsea. A lot of people heated up over that story there. And that's the cool thing about This Is Now, because we're on Facebook along with KHNO. But if you're on Facebook, tell us what you think. Write a comment right now in our thread below this video, this live video. We love seeing your opinions. something that everyone is also talking about, that big surf coming in. We were just looking at a live video feed that we lost, unfortunately, so I can't show it to you, but some waves appear to be building a little bit on the North Shore. Let's get you over to Guy Hoggy with an update on those conditions, and he's out and about at the Sony Open, so that's why you're going to hear him have a little bit of a whisper here.
We got some really nice weather here at the Sony and across the state, actually, with trade winds coming back in. We're expecting trade wind weather today. But on the other hand, the ocean is going bananas. We're talking about a big swell that is on the rise today. High surf warnings have been posted. High surf warnings posted for north and west shores of most of the state. So waves are going to be running, according to the National Weather Service today, 25 to 35. This swell is still building, and it's going to be 20 to 25 down on the west side. In town, not so much. There's not a whole lot going on because there's not much of a wrap. 3 to 5 on the east side. Now, even though the surf's going crazy, we've got some really nice weather. In fact, over the next 7 days, the weather will be changing, though. We've got another cold front due in tomorrow. That's why the winds will go slack. And then there's going to be a few wind and Mocha showers. Drier conditions by Saturday, and sometime on Sunday, another vigorous cold front. This one expected to drop a lot of rain sometime between Sunday night and Monday. And depending upon the timing, it could be a really serious situation for some neighborhoods, and the rain could be lingering even into Tuesday. But the computer models are not in agreement, but safe to say that we will see a fair bit of rain sometime between Sunday and Tuesday.
Thank you, Guy. Looked like you're having fun out there.
That whisper forecast was awesome.
He got scolded a little bit by officials this morning when he's trying to give his... Well, guys, turns out we've been calling Anne Hathaway by the wrong name all this time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The 38-year-old actress told the Tonight Show's host, Jimmy Fallon, last night that she much prefers Annie.
Oh.
Yeah, she says the only person that calls her Anne is her mom when she's about to get yelled at. Jonathan, Jared, Sabi. I know that tone right there. She joked, please call me anything but Anne. And I don't know, I can sort of relate. I actually always go by my formal name, Jonathan. You do as well, Ashley.
Well,
although we do sort of go back and forth.
People who know me well call me Ash. But yeah, same thing when growing up, when my mom was mad at me, she would call me Ashley. And
yeah, you're one of the few people that call me John. You get away with it.
yeah.
And then I do call you Ash. But yeah, I can relate. What'd you find?
So rapper, singer, and songwriter Post Malone wants to give back to hard-working frontline workers. The entertainer is gifting 10,000 pairs of his new Crocs to employees at 70 hospitals around the country. Now, Musicians on Call is an organization which brought together the live and recorded. They bring together live and recorded music to bedside patients. They made the announcement. The nonprofit shared photos of some of the workers wearing Post Malone's shoes, and the new Crocs were released last month, and they were sold out in less than an hour.
That's what I was just going to ask. Post Malone has his own Crocs?
I had no idea.
Before we started This Is Now, I never knew we'd talk about Crocs so much in our lives.
That's true.
Really.
We have.
A lot of Crocs stories.
And Jonathan, Dolly Parton,
Hello,
her home
Dolly.
state of Tennessee, is considering putting a statue of her outside the state capitol building in Nashville. Now, a state representative proposed the idea earlier this week, saying Dolly deserves to be recognized for all that she's contributed to Tennessee. Now, if commissioned, it will face the historic Ryman Auditorium. It's a music venue where she played throughout her career. It would be paid for by the Dolly Parton Fund, which would include gifts, grants, and other donations, and the public would have a say in the design.
Another person we're always talking about here on This Is Now. I wonder why. I really love her, though.
And some big name stars, you guys, are headlining Joe Biden's inauguration. So the Presidential Inauguration Committee announced today Lady Gaga will sing the national anthem. She has a history of activism alongside Biden. There will also be musical performances by Jennifer Lopez. A committee told CNN the mostly virtual inauguration will feature a number of other performers for TV, including John Bon Jovi, Demi Lovato, and Justin Timberlake. Now, Tom Hanks will host the Prime Time Inauguration Day special, which will air live on major networks next week, Wednesday, starting at 3:30 p.m. Hawaii time. Biden's swearing-in ceremony will happen around 7 a.m. Hawaii time.
All right, a lot of developments there.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of developments, we've been talking about Las Vegas, that big consumer show that's not really happening there this year. It went all virtual.
Yep.
So, Samsung is unveiling their newest lineup in that virtual show. Liz McLaughlin has the story of exactly what's going down.
Samsung is betting that bigger is better with its supersized S21 Ultra at a whopping 6.8 inches.
It's gigantic. You will not be able to fit this thing in a pocket very comfortably.
The $1,200 phone is one of Samsung's 3 new flagship models, unveiled today in a virtual Unpacked event.
The most advanced, intelligent display we've ever put on a smartphone.
Showing off new phones starting at $800, that's $200 less than its predecessors, with 5G capability for the entire lineup.
Everybody wants you to believe 5G is a huge deal, but 5G networks in the US aren't mature enough to be a reason to go get a phone.
Galaxy S21 phones boast new display features and big camera upgrades made for our social media society. With multiple lenses and AI to improve photo quality, even the ability to shoot 8K video.
Most smartphones can do most of the things that you want, so if you're trying to pick between one or the other, the camera really is going to be the differentiating factor.
Samsung is partnering with several automakers for a digital key that lets S21 users start their car and heat or AC remotely, even share a digital key to other smartphones.
I can send the key to my friend with just a few easy taps.
More ways Samsung and other phone makers hope to integrate your smartphone as the remote control to your life. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
Thanks, Liz. Love seeing all those products coming out of there every year. You know, I saw a product this year, which was actually a robot that does your dishes. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
That is so necessary
But you
and
know
so
what
needed.
that story, remember when phones were just phones?
Oh, yeah.
They're not just phones anymore.
Not
They're
anymore.
Your
Not
alarm clock. They do everything. Your camera. Remember when we had to
My
carry...
lifeline. I actually call mine I call it best friend.
Oh,
Like,
John,
where's
that's
best
really
friend?
sad.
Where's best friend? Let's get to some good news. Sorry.
So Taco Bell is overturning a controversial decision it made last year. Sorry guys, it's not bringing back the Mexican pizza.
No!
But the fast food chain is bringing back 2 potato items it removed from its menu. The cheesy Fiesta potatoes and the spicy potato soft taco. Now customers were really unhappy to see the potatoes go. So much so, a change.org petition got more than 5,000 signatures. Those items will be making a comeback in March. No word on the Mexican pizza.
Sounds good. And I still haven't even hit up the new Taco Bell in Kalihi yet.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk about lottery. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Thanks, Ashley. As you can see, I lost my script there. We're going to talk about this. More food. That's what we want to talk about. There is a new treat for us carnivores. Sonic Drive-In is joining forces with Slim Jim and a new meat stick. Check this out. The Sonic Chili Cheese Coney flavored Slim Jim. You can get these at stores. So I know we don't have Sonics, so you don't have to actually go to the store to get these. You can just find them at your local 7-Eleven probably very soon. They said the availability will increase over the year. Coney, chili, dog, cheese.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It could work. It could work.
And another drawing for the Mega Millions jackpot is happening tomorrow. It's an estimated $750 million, making it the second largest prize in the lottery game's history. We're learning more about one lucky winner, though. Someone hit 5 of the 6 Mega Million numbers on Tuesday, which means they can claim $900,000. That ticket was sold at La Paz Liquor Store in Burbank, California.
Go them.
I know.
I could use a little bit of that. Thank you guys for watching. This is Now. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, I'm off, but Ian will be here. Bye.